Rain drummed against the windows, soft and steady, like an old friend keeping her company. The clock ticked faintly in the corner, the kind of silence Evelyn had learned to treasure since the house grew quiet. Her tea cooled beside her favorite armchair as she turned another page of her mystery novel, though her mind often wandered to the empty spaces where purpose used to live. It had taken her months to stop reaching for the hospital pager every morning. Even now, 2 years later, a part of her still listened for the distant sound of monitors and hurried footsteps. The phone rang. Mrs. Patterson? This is Sarah from Detroit General Hospital. Evelyn's heart quickened. She knew that voice, though it felt like a lifetime since her retirement party. We have an unusual request, Sarah continued, her voice carrying hesitation. There's a small clinic in the Riverside neighborhood that desperately needs experienced medical volunteers. Well, most of our regular volunteers are hesitant to go there. Riverside. The name stirred something deep in Evelyn's chest. Years ago, as a young nurse fresh with dreams, she'd worked there briefly before transferring to safer ground. Then she'd been eager to heal the world, but overwhelmed by needs that seemed endless. They're asking for someone who understands. Sarah paused. Understands what? Evelyn asked softly. Another pause. That sometimes children need healing that has nothing to do with medicine. Evelyn closed her eyes, feeling something awaken inside her. Something she hadn't felt in months of quiet afternoons and silent evenings. When do they need me? Today, if possible. I know it's short notice. I'll be there in an hour. The drive to Riverside took her through streets that looked like memories. Left out in the rain, faded, but still alive. Every cracked sidewalk seemed to whisper the names of children she once treated. Empty lots where houses once stood told stories of families scattered like dandelion seeds. But through her windshield, she saw something that made her smile. Children's. Laughter echoing from a small playground, their joy untouched by the struggles around them. The clinic was smaller than she remembered, squeezed between a laundromat and a corner store. Paint peeled like old skin, and the sign had faded to whispers, but through the window, warm light spilled out, like hope. As she parked, Evelyn noticed a small figure on the clinic's front steps. A little girl sat there, soaked to the bone, clutching a stuffed rabbit whose fur had turned gray with age and rain. When she looked up, Evelyn felt the world fall silent. Those eyes, too old, too knowing, seemed to recognize her before she'd even spoken. Are you here to help? The child asked, her voice barely louder than the rain. Yes, Evelyn said softly, though she didn't yet understand the promise hidden in those words. Outside, the rain kept falling, washing the city clean, or trying to. Inside, small clinic, 2 lives were about to change forever. Before we continue Evelyn's journey, if you're enjoying this story, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Your support helps us bring more heartwarming tales like this one. Now, let's see what awaits Evelyn inside the clinic. The clinic door creaked as Evelyn stepped inside, her shoes leaving tiny puddles on the worn linoleum floor. The smell hit her immediately, not the harsh antiseptic of modern hospitals, but something gentler. Lavender mixed with the faint scent of children's soap and warm blankets. You must be our angel, came a voice from behind the reception desk. A woman in her 50s appeared, wearing scrubs decorated with tiny cartoon bears. Her name tag read, Maria, head nurse. Hardly an angel, Evelyn smiled, extending her hand. Just someone who remembers what it feels like to want to help. Maria's eyes crinkled with understanding. Sarah told me about your experience. 40 years at Detroit General? We could use that wisdom here. She gestured around the small space. It's not much, but we see about 60 children a week. Evelyn followed Maria through the narrow hallway, past examination rooms no bigger. Then closets. Hand-drawn pictures covered every wall, smiling suns, rainbow families, and hearts in crayon colors that seemed to glow against the faded paint. The children draw them, Maria explained, noticing Evelyn's gaze. We started putting them up 2 years ago. Somehow it makes everything feel less scary for them. They passed a small play area where 2 toddlers were building blocks, while their mothers watched nervously. In the corner, an older boy sat alone, reading a picture book with intense concentration. That's Marcus, Maria whispered. 9 years old. Reads everything he can. get his hands on. Dreams of becoming a doctor someday. She paused. His mom works 3 jobs to keep their apartment. Brings him here when she can't find anyone to watch him. Evelyn felt her chest tighten with familiar emotion. Every child had a story. Every family carried invisible burdens. And the little girl outside? Evelyn asked. In the rain, Maria's expression grew tender. That's Lily. She's special. Comes here every Tuesday and Thursday, whether she needs medical care or not. She's been waiting for someone, though she's never told us who. They reached a small break room where Maria poured coffee into mismatched mugs. Her mother works double shifts at the factory. Lily takes care of her baby brother during the day. She's only 7, but she's more responsible than most adults I know. Evelyn stared out the window where Lily still sat, now sharing her worn stuffed rabbit's ear with a stray cat that had appeared. Something about the scene made her heart ache in the most beautiful way. What does she need? Evelyn asked quietly. What they all need, Maria replied. Someone to see them. Really see them. Not just their scratches and sniffles, but she searched for words. Their brave little hearts. A knock interrupted them. Lily stood in the doorway, soaked through but smiling shyly. Excuse me? She said in a voice like wind chimes. The cat outside is hurt. Could someone help him too? Evelyn knelt down to Lily's eye level. Of course, sweetheart. Should we go take a look together? Lily nodded solemnly. He's scared. Like me sometimes. But maybe if we're gentle. As they walked toward the door together, Evelyn felt something she hadn't experienced in 2 years. The quiet certainty that she was exactly where she belonged. The stray cat was orange and white, with one ear missing its tip and ribs showing through matted fur. He crouched under the clinic's small awning, yellow eyes darting between Lily and Evelyn with cautious hope. He's been coming around for weeks, Lily whispered, crouching down slowly. I share my lunch with him sometimes, but Mama says we can't take him home because... Her voice trailed off. Evelyn knelt beside her, moving deliberately slowly. Because taking care of everyone you love costs money? Lily nodded, her small fingers reaching toward the cat. I named him Patches. He has a cut on his front paw. The cat allowed Lily to stroke his head, purring despite his obvious discomfort. Evelyn watched the interaction with wonder. This tiny girl, carrying responsibilities far beyond her years, still had infinite gentleness for a wounded creature. Lily, would you like to help me treat Patches? We could clean his cut and make sure he's healthy. The child's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. Really? I could be your assistant? I'd be honored to have such a caring assistant. They spent the next hour in the clinic's small storage room that doubled as a pet treatment area. Maria had explained that many children brought injured animals, pets they couldn't afford to take to veterinarians, strays they'd befriended in the neighborhood. Lily proved to be an exceptional helper. She held the gauze steady while Evelyn cleaned Patch's wound, spoke to him in soothing whispers when he grew restless, and carefully measured out the food Maria provided from their emergency pet supplies. My mama used to sing to me when I got scared, Lily said, humming softly to Patches. Before she had to work so much, Evelyn's hands never paused in their work, but her heart clenched. What song did she sing? You are my sunshine. She said I was her sunshine even on cloudy days. Lily's voice grew smaller. But now she's too tired to sing. They worked in comfortable silence after that, Patches gradually relaxing under their combined care. When they finished, the cat looked transformed, clean, fed, and wearing a small bandage that Lily had decorated with tiny heart stickers. He looks handsome now, Lily declared proudly. Thanks to Dr. Lily's excellent assistance, Evelyn said seriously. You have very healing hands. The little girl beamed, then grew thoughtful. Mrs. Evelyn, do you think Patches feels less scared now that someone took care of him? Something in the way she asked the question made Evelyn study Lily's face more carefully. Behind the mature words and responsible demeanor, she glimpsed something fragile and hopeful. I think, Evelyn said gently, that when someone shows us kindness when we're hurt or scared, it reminds us that we're not alone in the world. That makes everything feel less frightening. Lily nodded solemnly, as if filing away this wisdom for later use. As afternoon faded into evening, other children began arriving with their families for appointments. Evelyn watched Lily interact with each one, offering crayons to a crying toddler, reading to a boy with a broken arm, holding the hand of a girl afraid of getting a shot. She's been like this since she started coming here, Maria observed quietly. Takes care of everyone. Sometimes I wonder who takes care of her. Outside, the rain had stopped and golden sunlight broke through the clouds. Lily pressed her face against the window, watching Patches explore his new territory in the small garden behind the clinic. Mrs. Evelyn? She said suddenly. Will you be here next week? Would you like me to be? Yes, please. Patches might need us again. And she hesitated. And maybe you could teach me more about helping? Evelyn felt tears prick her eyes. I'd love that, Lily. I'd love that very much. Are you feeling the connection between Evelyn and Lily growing? If this story is touching your heart, please hit subscribe and like this video. Every subscription helps us continue sharing these meaningful stories. Now, let's see how their bond deepens. Tuesday morning arrived with clear skies and the kind of autumn light that made everything look possible. Evelyn found herself humming as she prepared for her second day at the clinic, packing her medical bag with extra care and adding a few children's books she'd found in her closet. When she arrived, Lily was already waiting on the front steps, this time dry and wearing a freshly washed dress that was too big for her small frame. Beside her sat Patches, looking healthier and wearing a makeshift collar fashioned from colorful yarn. Good morning, Dr. Lily, Evelyn called out as she approached. Lily giggled, the first genuine laugh Evelyn had heard from her. I'm not a real doctor yet, but Patches is much better. Look, he can walk without limping now. Indeed, the cat moved with new confidence, weaving between Lily's legs with obvious affection. You did excellent work, Evelyn said seriously. Healing requires not just medical knowledge, but patience and love. You have both. Inside the clinic, Maria greeted them with knowing smiles. Word has spread about our new veterinary team, she said. Mrs. Rodriguez is bringing her daughter's hamster this afternoon, and the Thompson boy wants you to look at his turtle. Lily's eyes grew wide with excitement and responsibility. We can help them all, can't we, Mrs. Evelyn? The morning passed quickly. Evelyn treated routine childhood ailments while Lily assisted by holding supplies, distracting younger patients with stories, and offering comfort to nervous siblings. Her natural empathy amazed everyone who witnessed it. During lunch break, they sat in the small garden where Patches had claimed a sunny spot near the tomato plants. Lily unwrapped a peanut butter sandwich from a brown paper bag, carefully tearing off pieces to share with her feline friend. Lily, Evelyn said gently, can I ask you something? Who makes your lunch? I do, Lily replied, matter-of-factly. Every morning before Tommy wakes up. He's my baby brother, he's 2. Mama leaves for work really early, so I get him dressed and give him breakfast, too. Evelyn's heart ached at the casual way Lily described responsibilities no 7-year-old should carry. That sounds like a lot of work for someone your age. Lily shrugged, offering Patches another piece of sandwich. Mama says I'm her big helper. She's very tired, you know. The factory is loud and hot, and she stands up all day. When she comes home, her feet hurt so much she can barely walk. What about your father? Evelyn asked carefully. He left when Tommy was born. Mama cried for a long time, but then she stopped and got really strong instead. She says we don't need anyone who doesn't want to stay. The matter-of-fact way Lily spoke about abandonment and adult responsibilities broke Evelyn's heart. Yet there was no, self-pity in the child's voice, only acceptance and quiet strength. Your mama sounds very brave, Evelyn said. She is. But sometimes, Lily lowered her voice to a whisper. Sometimes I hear her crying at night when she thinks I'm asleep, and in the mornings her eyes are red and puffy. A comfortable silence settled between them. Patches stretched in the sunshine while Lily methodically ate her sandwich, offering bites to the cat every few minutes. Mrs. Evelyn? Lily said suddenly. Do you have children? I don't, Evelyn replied honestly. I spent so many years taking care of other people's children at the hospital that I never had time for my own family. Do you wish you had? The question surprised Evelyn with its directness. Sometimes. But maybe, she looked at Lily's earnest face. Maybe the universe saves some people to love children who need extra caring. Children like the ones who come to this clinic. Lily considered this seriously. So you're kind of like a grandmother to everyone? I'd like to think so. Good, Lily said with satisfaction. Everyone needs a grandmother, even grown-ups sometimes. As afternoon appointments began, Evelyn found herself watching Lily with growing admiration and concern. The child moved through the clinic like a small angel, offering comfort and assistance wherever needed. But Evelyn noticed other things too. How Lily never asked for anything for herself. How she always shared whatever food she had. How she instinctively stepped in to help overwhelmed parents manage their other children. She carries the world on those tiny shoulders, Maria observed during a quiet moment. Someone needs to carry her for a while, Evelyn murmured back. Neither woman realized that Lily, sorting books in the corner, had heard every word. Thursday brought the first real cold snap of autumn. Evelyn arrived at the clinic to find Lily sitting on the steps again, but this time she was shivering despite wearing a thin sweater that had seen better days. Patches sat pressed against her side, both of them huddled together for warmth. Good. Morning, sweetheart, Evelyn said, immediately shrugging off her own warm cardigan. Here, put this on. I'm okay, Lily protested, even as her teeth chattered slightly. I don't want to take your sweater. I have another one in my car, Evelyn lied gently, draping the soft wool around Lily's shoulders. Besides, this color looks much better on you. Inside the clinic, Maria had started a small space heater in the break room. Forecast says it might snow this weekend, she mentioned to Evelyn. First snow always catches everyone off guard. Through the morning, Evelyn noticed Lily's energy seemed lower than usual. The child still helped with every patient, still offered her bright smile to frightened toddlers, but there was something tired in her movements. During their lunch break, Lily unwrapped an even smaller sandwich than usual, just 2 thin slices of bread with the thinnest spread of peanut butter. Is that enough food for you? Evelyn asked carefully. Oh yes, Lily said quickly. I had a big breakfast. But when she thought Evelyn wasn't looking, she gave half of her meager sandwich to Patches. Evelyn's maternal instincts, dormant for so many years, suddenly blazed to life. Without saying anything, she walked to the clinic's small refrigerator where staff kept their lunches and retrieved the large sandwich and apple she'd packed for herself. Lily, I made way too much food today. Would you help me eat this? I hate wasting food. Lily's eyes grew wide at the sight of the thick sandwich filled with turkey, cheese, lettuce, and tomatoes. Are you sure? Absolutely. In fact, I insist. You'd be doing me a favor. As Lily ate with obvious hunger, carefully saving portions for Patches, Evelyn made mental notes. The child was clearly not getting enough food at home. Her clothes, while clean, were worn thin and too large, and there was something about her careful way of moving that suggested she was used to making herself as small and unobtrusive as possible. Lily, Evelyn said gently, I've been thinking, would you like to learn more about helping animals? I know someone who might teach us both some new things. Really? Lily's face lit up with the first genuine excitement Evelyn had seen all day. Dr. Martinez comes to the clinic once a month to check on pets that people bring in. She's coming next Tuesday. Would you like to be my special assistant for that visit? You mean like a real veterinary assistant? Exactly like that. The afternoon passed with renewed energy from Lily, but Evelyn found herself watching the clock anxiously. When 5 o'clock came and other children were picked up by parents or older siblings, Lily gathered her things. Slowly. Mama will be home soon, she said, more to herself than to Evelyn. I need to start dinner for Tommy. Lily, wait. Evelyn pulled out a small bag she'd prepared. I brought some extra groceries today, things I won't use. Would you take them home? I hate seeing food go to waste. Inside the bag were simple items: a loaf of bread, peanut butter, bananas, soup cans, crackers, and juice boxes. Things that could feed a family for several days. Lily stared at the bag with wide eyes. Mrs. Evelyn, this is too much. Nonsense, you'd be helping me by taking it off my hands. The child's lower lip trembled slightly. Thank you, she whispered. Tommy loves bananas, but we haven't had them in a long time. As Evelyn watched Lily walk away, carefully carrying the heavy bag of groceries along with her small backpack, she felt a fierce protectiveness rise in her chest. This child, this beautiful, giving, responsible little soul, was carrying burdens that would challenge most adults. She gets to you, doesn't she? Maria said, appearing beside Evelyn at the window. How does she do it all? Evelyn asked. How does someone so small stay so strong? Some children are born with old souls, Maria replied quietly. They understand things they shouldn't have to understand. But that strength, it comes at a cost. What kind of cost? They forget how to be children. They forget how to ask for help. They forget that they deserve to be taken care of too. That night, Evelyn lay awake, thinking about small shoulders carrying impossible weights, about a 7-year-old girl who made lunches and changed diapers and never ever asked for anything for herself. And for the first time in years, Evelyn found herself praying to a God she wasn't sure she still believed in, asking for guidance about how to help a child who had already given up her childhood to save her family. Evelyn's growing concern for Lily is touching hearts everywhere. If you're invested in their story, please subscribe and hit that like button. Your support means the world to us. Now let's see what happens. When Lily's brave facade begins to show cracks, snow arrived earlier than predicted, falling softly through the Friday afternoon light. Evelyn had stayed late at the clinic, organizing medical supplies and trying to understand the growing ache in her chest every time she thought about Lily facing a cold weekend in what was likely an inadequately heated apartment. She was just locking up when she heard it, a small muffled sound coming from behind the building. Following the noise, she discovered Lily sitting in the small garden, Patches curled in her lap, both of them dusted with snowflakes. Lily? Sweetheart, what are you doing here so late? The little girl looked up, and for the first time since Evelyn had known her, Lily's eyes were bright with unshed tears. I came back to see Patches, she said in a voice smaller than usual. And to think. Evelyn sat down on the cold ground beside her, ignoring the snow soaking through her pants. What kind of thinking? The hard kind, Lily whispered. They sat in silence for a moment, watching snowflakes melt on Patches' orange fur. The cat purred contentedly, seemingly unaware of the emotional storm brewing in the small girl. Holding him. Mama didn't come home last night, Lily finally said, so quietly Evelyn had to strain to hear. Or this morning. Evelyn's blood ran cold. Where is she, honey? I don't know. She was supposed to finish work at 11 like always, but she never came home. Lily's voice remained steady, but her hands trembled as she stroked Patches. Tommy kept crying because he wanted Mama. I gave him the last bottle, but now we don't have any more formula. Lily, where is Tommy now? Mrs. Garcia next door is watching him. She has 6 kids of her own, but she said one more wouldn't hurt for a little while. Lily looked up at Evelyn with eyes too old for her face. But I can't keep asking her. She barely has enough for her own babies. Evelyn felt something crack open in her chest, a mixture of rage at the unfairness of it all and fierce protectiveness for this small girl trying to hold her world together. Have you eaten today? Lily shook her head. I gave Tommy the last banana this morning. There's some peanut butter left, but no bread. Without hesitation, Evelyn stood up. Come on, we're going to get you some food and then we're going to figure this out together. But I can't. Leave. What if Mama comes back and I'm not there? We'll leave a note, and we'll come back to check, I promise. The nearby diner was warm and bright, filled with the smell of coffee and home cooking. Evelyn ordered Lily a full meal, soup, grilled cheese, milk, and apple pie, while making careful conversation to keep the child from falling apart completely. You know what I've learned in my many years? Evelyn said as Lily ate with obvious hunger. Sometimes the strongest thing we can do is ask for help. But Mama says we have to be strong, that we can't depend on anyone else. Your Mama is right about being strong. But strength isn't about carrying everything alone. Sometimes strength means knowing when you need support. Lily considered this while methodically eating her soup. Mrs. Evelyn, are you going to call the people who take children away from their families? The question pierced Evelyn's heart. Is that what you're worried about? If they find out Mama's gone, they'll take me and Tommy to different homes. They might separate us. Lily's composure finally cracked, and tears began sliding down her cheeks. I can take care of him. I know how. I just need Mama to come back. Evelyn reached across the table and took Lily's small hands in her own. Listen to me very carefully. I'm not going to let anyone separate you from Tommy. We're going to figure this out together, okay? You promise? I promise. As they walked back to the clinic to collect Patches, then to Lily's apartment building, Evelyn's mind raced with possibilities and concerns. The building was older, with dim hallways and thin walls through which they could hear televisions and crying babies and muffled arguments. Lily's apartment was on the third floor, 2 small rooms that were spotlessly clean despite their obvious poverty. A tiny kitchenette, a living area with a worn couch that clearly served as Lily's bed, and one bedroom where Tommy's crib sat next to a mattress on the floor. Mrs. Garcia brought Tommy back an hour ago, Lily explained, checking on her sleeping brother. She said, "He was good, but he kept asking for Mama." The apartment was cold, not just chilly, but truly cold. Evelyn checked the thermostat and found it set to barely 60 degrees. "Lily, is this how warm it usually is?" "Mama says we have to be careful with the heat. It costs too much." Evelyn made another mental note, her heart breaking further with each new revelation about this family's struggle. "I'm going to stay here tonight," she announced, "to help with Tommy if he wakes up, and in case your mama comes home." "You don't have to." "I want to," Evelyn said firmly. "Family helps family, and you've become very important to me." That night, as Lily finally fell asleep on the couch with Patches curled beside her, Evelyn sat in the small kitchen chair, keeping vigil. Through the thin walls, she could hear the sounds of other families struggling, crying children, worried voices, the constant background hum of lives lived too close to the edge, and she made a decision that would change everything. Dawn crept through the thin curtains of Lily's apartment, bringing with it the soft sounds of a waking city and Tommy's gentle babbling from his crib. Evelyn had dozed fitfully in the kitchen chair, starting awake every time she heard footsteps in the hallway, hoping one set might belong to Lily's mother. None had. Lily was already awake when Evelyn checked on her, sitting up on the couch with Patches in her lap, staring at the front door with the patient stillness of someone who had learned to wait for things that might never come. "Good morning, sweetheart," Evelyn said softly. "How did you sleep?" "Okay," Lily replied, though the dark circles under her eyes suggested otherwise. "Tommy will need breakfast soon, and a diaper change." The automatic way she stated these responsibilities, as if caring for a toddler was as natural as breathing for a 7-year-old, made Evelyn's chest tight with emotion. "Let me help with that," Evelyn said. "I may be out of practice, but I remember a thing or two about babies." Together they tended to Tommy, who seemed delighted to see Evelyn again. The toddler clapped his hands and babbled happily as she changed his diaper, apparently unfazed by his mother's absence. His easy trust and joy stood in stark contrast to Lily's careful, worried silence. "He doesn't understand yet," Lily explained, as if reading Evelyn's thoughts. "About Mama being gone. He thinks it's just another day." Evelyn prepared formula with the powdered milk she'd bought at the corner store early that morning, along with bread, eggs, and fruit. As Tommy ate his breakfast in his high chair, messily but enthusiastically, Lily picked at a piece of toast. "Lily, we need to talk about what comes next." The little girl's shoulders tensed. "Are you going to call someone now?" "I'm going to call my friend Dr. Sarah at the hospital. She knows people who help families in difficult situations, not to separate them, but to keep them together." "Really?" "Really. But first, I need you to tell me, has your mama ever disappeared like this before?" Lily shook her head quickly, then paused. "Well, sometimes she's late because the buses don't run good, and once she had to work a double shift and couldn't call, but never all night. Never without telling me. And she didn't say anything different before she left for work. She seemed sadder than usual. And tired. Really tired." Lily's voice grew smaller. "She kept saying she was sorry. I didn't know what she was sorry for." Evelyn felt a chill that had nothing to do with the apartment's temperature. A mother apologizing to her child before leaving for work, then not coming home. The possibilities running through her mind were all frightening. Around noon, as Lily was reading a picture book to Tommy, there was a knock at the door. Lily froze, then rushed to peer through the peephole. "It's Mrs. Garcia," she said, relief evident in her voice. The neighbor was a round woman in her 40s with kind eyes and worry lines etched around them. She spoke in rapid Spanish to Lily, who answered fluently, then turned to Evelyn. "Mrs. Garcia works at the same factory as Mama," Lily translated. "She says—" Her voice faltered. Mrs. Garcia continued speaking gently, placing a comforting hand on Lily's shoulder. She says Mama got hurt at work Thursday night, Lily continued, her voice barely above a whisper. A machine caught her sleeve and pulled her arm. They took her to the hospital, but she was very scared because she doesn't have the right papers to be in this country. She was afraid they would send her away from us. Evelyn's heart sank. This explained everything. A mother faced with the impossible choice between seeking medical care and risking deportation, leaving her children behind. Mrs. Garcia says some of the other workers are trying to find out which hospital, Lily continued. But it might take time. That afternoon, Evelyn made a series of phone calls while Lily played quietly with Tommy in the living room. She spoke with Dr. Sarah, with social services, with immigrant advocacy groups, carefully explaining the situation and emphasizing the need to keep the family together. There are options, Dr. Sarah finally told her. But it's complicated, and it might take time to work through the system. What about immediate help? Children need food, heat, and someone to care for them while we figure this out. Well, Dr. Sarah said slowly, if someone were willing to provide temporary care, someone the children trust, someone with a clean background check and medical training, that would give us time to locate the mother and work out a proper solution. After hanging up, Evelyn sat for a long moment, watching Lily patiently help Tommy stack blocks, only to laugh delightedly when he knocked them down. The little girl's face held a mixture of worry and determination that no child should have to wear. Lily, Evelyn called softly. Can you come here for a minute? The child approached cautiously, leaving Tommy surrounded by soft toys. I have an idea, Evelyn said, kneeling to meet Lily's eyes. How would you feel about coming to stay at my house for a few days? You and Tommy and Patches. Just until we find your Mama and make sure she's okay. Lily's eyes widened. Your real house? My real house. With heat and food and plenty of space for all of us. But what if Mama comes back here and we're not here? We'll leave her a note with my phone number and address. And we'll check here every day. For the first time in 24 hours, hope flickered across Lily's face. Could Tommy have his own warm bed? He could have his own warm room if he wanted. Lily looked back at her brother, then at their cold, empty apartment, then at Evelyn with eyes that seemed to hold all the weight of the world. Okay, she whispered. But just until Mama comes home. Just until Mama comes home. Evelyn agreed, though she had no idea what challenges lay ahead. Evelyn's house sat on a quiet, tree-lined street about 20 minutes from the clinic. A modest 2-story home with a wraparound porch and flower boxes that would bloom again come spring. As they pulled into the driveway, Lily pressed her face against the car window, taking in every detail. It's like houses in picture books, she whispered to Tommy, who was napping in his car seat, clutching a stuffed elephant Evelyn had retrieved from their apartment. It's not fancy, Evelyn said, gathering bags from the trunk. But it's warm and safe. Patches had traveled in a carrier, and Lily immediately let him out to explore the fenced backyard, while Evelyn carried a still sleepy Tommy inside. The house smelled like lavender and vanilla, comforting scents from potpourri and the lingering aroma of morning coffee. The guest room is upstairs, Evelyn explained, leading them up the carpeted steps. There's a crib we can set up for Tommy, and a bed for you right next to it. The room was painted pale yellow with white curtains that filtered the afternoon sunlight into gentle patterns on the walls. A bookshelf filled with children's books stood in one corner, and a wooden toy chest painted with cheerful flowers sat under the window. Those books are from when my sister's children used to visit, Evelyn explained. They're yours. To read while you're here. Lily ran her fingers along the book spines with reverence. All of them? Every single one. While Evelyn assembled the borrowed crib, Lily explored the room with careful steps, touching the soft bedspread, peering out the window at the backyard where Patches was already. Investigating interesting smells around the garden? Mrs. Evelyn? Lily said quietly. Why are you being so nice to us? Evelyn paused in her work, considering the question seriously. Do you remember what we talked about at the clinic? About how sometimes people are meant to love children who need extra caring? Lily nodded. Well, I think you and Tommy are exactly the children I was meant to care for. Even though we're not your real family? Lily, listen carefully. Family isn't just about blood. Family is about love and choice and showing up for each other. You've been showing up for Tommy every day of his life. That makes you his family. And if you'll let me, I'd like to show up for both of you." Tommy woke from his nap as they finished setting up the room, and his delighted giggle at seeing his crib in a new place filled the house with joy. Lily helped him explore the toy chest, pulling out wooden blocks, soft animals, and picture books with sturdy pages perfect for little hands. "Kitty!" Tommy exclaimed, pointing out the window where Patches was now sunning himself on the back porch. "Yes, that's your kitty," Lily said patiently. "His name is Patches." As evening approached, Evelyn prepared dinner while Lily sat at the kitchen table with Tommy on her lap, helping him color in a coloring book. The scene felt so natural, so right, that Evelyn had to pause in her cooking to simply watch them. "Lily, do you like spaghetti?" "We've never had it," Lily replied. "But it smells wonderful." The admission struck Evelyn's heart. 7 years old and had never had spaghetti. Such a simple pleasure that most children took for granted. "Well, then this will be a special first," Evelyn said warmly. Dinner was a revelation. Tommy laughed with delight as he tried to manage the long noodles, getting more sauce on his face than in his mouth. Lily ate with careful, polite bites, but her eyes shone with pleasure at each new flavor. "This is the best dinner I've ever had," she declared, then immediately looked worried. "I mean, besides Mama's cooking, Mama makes good food too." Of course she does," Evelyn said gently. "And we're going to find her soon so she can make you all your favorite meals again." After dinner, they settled in the living room. Evelyn had started a fire in the fireplace, and the three of them curled up on the couch, Tommy on Lily's lap, Patches purring beside them, while Evelyn read from a book of fairy tales. "Once upon a time," Evelyn began, her voice taking on the magical cadence of all good storytellers. "In a land far away, there lived a brave little girl who had the kindest heart in all the kingdom." Tommy fell asleep before the story ended, his head heavy against Lily's shoulder. But Lily stayed awake, listening intently to every word. "Mrs. Evelyn," she said when the story finished, "do you think Mama is somewhere safe and warm tonight?" "I believe she is, sweetheart. And I believe she's thinking about you and Tommy and counting the minutes until she can hold you both again. Will you sing Tommy the Sunshine Song when we put him to bed?" I don't remember all the words anymore." Evelyn's throat tightened with emotion. "I'd be honored to." As they tucked Tommy into his new crib, Evelyn sang softly, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray." Lily joined in on the parts she remembered, her small voice harmonizing with Evelyn's. Tommy drifted off to sleep with a smile on his face. Later, after Lily had changed into borrowed pajamas that were too big but wonderfully soft, she sat on the edge of her new bed while Evelyn brushed her long dark hair. "Mrs. Evelyn, if something happens to Mama, if she can't come back, would you still want us?" The question hung in the air like a prayer, hopeful and terrified all at once. "Lily," Evelyn said, setting down the brush and turning the child to face her. "Nothing is going to happen to your Mama. We're going to find her and bring her home. But if you need me, for any reason, for any length of time, I will always want you. Both of you. Always. Promise?" "Promise." That night, as Evelyn checked on both children one final time before bed, she found Lily fast asleep with one hand stretched toward Tommy's crib and the other clutching a picture book about families. Patches was curled at the foot of her bed, a faithful guardian. For the first time in 48 hours, all was peaceful. But Evelyn's heart carried both joy and worry as she prepared for whatever tomorrow might bring. 3 days passed in a rhythm of gentle normalcy, punctuated by urgent phone calls and growing concern. Evelyn maintained their routine of visiting the clinic, where Lily continued her role as junior assistant. But now Tommy came too. Charming staff and patients alike with his sunny disposition and newfound vocabulary that seemed to grow by the hour. "Patch," he would call delightedly whenever he saw their feline friend. "Book," when he wanted Lily to read to him. "Eben," which was his version of Evelyn's name, spoken with such joy that it melted everyone who heard it. Mrs. Garcia visited each afternoon with updates from her factory network. Other workers had confirmed that Lily's mother, Rosa, had been taken to Detroit Metropolitan Hospital, but beyond that, information became murky. The hospital couldn't discuss patients. without proper identification, and Rosa had no family members authorized to receive information. But someone saw her walking out 2 days ago, Mrs. Garcia reported on Thursday, with her arm in a sling but walking. So she's not in the hospital anymore? Lily asked, hope and confusion warring in her voice. No, mija, but where she went, nobody knows. That evening, after Tommy was asleep and Lily was supposedly reading in bed, Evelyn found the little girl sitting on the stairs, listening to the adult conversation below. Rather than send her back to bed, Evelyn patted the step beside her. Come sit with me. You deserve to know what's happening. Lily crept down and curled against Evelyn's side. Is Mama in trouble? Real trouble? I think Mama is scared, Evelyn said carefully. Sometimes when people are very afraid, they hide instead of reaching out for help. Afraid of what? Of being sent away from you and Tommy. Of people not understanding that she's just trying to take care of her family. Lily was quiet for a long moment. If they send Mama away, will they send me and Tommy away too? No one is sending anyone away, Evelyn said firmly. But Lily, I need you to help me. To understand something. Has your Mama ever told you what you should do if something happened to her? If she couldn't come home? She said to call Tia Carmen in El Salvador. But the phone number doesn't work anymore. Lily's voice grew smaller. And she said to be brave and take care of Tommy. No matter what. You've been so brave, sweetheart. Braver than anyone should have to be. Mrs. Evelyn? What if Mama can't find us? What if she goes to the apartment and we're not there? I check the apartment every day, remember? And we left notes with my phone number and address. If your Mama goes there, she'll know exactly how to find you. Friday brought an unexpected breakthrough. Dr. Sarah called just after breakfast with news that made Evelyn's heart race. A woman matching Rosa's description was seen at the bus station yesterday, she reported. Someone from the immigrant advocacy group. Recognized her from the photo Lily gave you. She was asking about tickets to El Salvador. Evelyn felt ice form in her stomach. Was she buying a ticket? We don't know. But Evelyn, if she's planning to leave the country, she wouldn't leave without the children, Evelyn said immediately. Not the Rosa that Lily describes. Something else is happening. There's more. The advocacy group has been making inquiries, and they think Rosa might be staying at a shelter downtown, a place where undocumented families go when they're afraid of being found. Which shelter? They're working on that. But Evelyn, even if we find her, this situation is complicated. If Rosa is here illegally, then we help her figure out how to stay legally. There have to be options for a mother with 2 young children. There are, but the process is lengthy and expensive, and there are no guarantees. After hanging up, Evelyn sat for a moment, processing the information. Through the kitchen window, she could see Lily pushing Tommy on the swing set in the backyard, both children bundled in warm coats, their laughter carrying on the crisp autumn air. Bad news, Lily asked when she came inside with pink cheeks and sparkling eyes. Not bad news, Evelyn said carefully. Complicated news. We think we know where your Mama might be, but we're still working on finding her exactly. Can we go look for her? The grown-ups are looking, sweetheart. The best thing you can do is take care of Tommy and yourself while we search. That afternoon, while Tommy napped and Lily read quietly in the living room, Evelyn made a decision. She called Dr. Sarah back. I want to visit every shelter in the city if I have to, she said. Rosa needs to know that her children are safe and loved, and that there are people willing to help her fight to stay with them. Evelyn, that could take days, and there's no guarantee. Then it takes days. These children have already been abandoned by their father and separated from their mother by circumstances beyond anyone's control. They need to know that some adults in their lives don't give up. All right, I'll get you a list of addresses. But Evelyn, take care of yourself too. Lily and Tommy need you strong. As Evelyn prepared for what might be a long search, she found Lily standing in the doorway, having overheard part of the conversation. You're really going to look for her? Lily asked. I'm really going to look for her. Even though it might be hard? Especially because it might be hard. Family doesn't give up on family, remember? Lily ran to her and hugged her tightly around the waist. Thank you for making us family. The next morning would begin a search that would test everyone's faith, hope, and determination. But for tonight, they were together. They were safe, and they were loved. Sometimes, that's enough to keep hope alive. Saturday morning dawned gray and cold, with the promise of more snow in the heavy clouds. Evelyn had arranged for Mrs. Garcia to watch the children while she spent the day visiting shelters across Detroit, armed with Rosa's photo and a determination that surprised even herself. "You don't have to do this," Mrs. Garcia said quietly as they prepared breakfast. "The authorities will find her eventually." "These children have been waiting for eventually their whole lives," Evelyn replied, buttoning her warmest coat. "They deserve someone who looks for their mama right now." Lily clung to Evelyn before she left, whispering, "Tell Mama that Tommy learned 3 new words and that I've been reading every night just like she taught me." "I'll tell her everything," Evelyn promised. The first 3 shelters yielded nothing. Kind staff who checked their records and showed photos to residents, but no one who recognized Rosa. At the 4th shelter, a tired-looking volunteer paused, longer over the photograph. "She looks familiar," the woman said slowly. "But we see so many people, and they don't always use their real names." "Please," Evelyn said. "Her children are safe with me, but they need their mother. Come back around dinner time. If she's here, that's when she'll be in." The dining hall. The hours until evening crawled by. Evelyn returned home to find Tommy napping peacefully, while Lily sat curled in the window seat, watching the street with patient eyes. "Any luck?" the little girl asked hopefully. "Not yet, but I'm not giving up." "I know," Lily said simply. "You don't give up on people." That evening, Evelyn returned to the 4th shelter alone, her heart pounding as she entered the bustling dining hall. She scanned the room systematically, looking for a woman with Rosa's delicate features and dark hair. Then she saw her. In the far corner, sitting alone, with her injured arm in a faded sling, was a woman who could only be Lily's mother. She was thinner than in the photo, with worry lines etched around her eyes, but there was something unmistakably gentle about her face that explained where Lily had inherited her caring nature. Evelyn approached, slowly, not wanting to startle her. "Rosa?" The woman looked up with frightened eyes, then confusion. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" "My name is Evelyn Patterson. I'm taking care of Lily and Tommy." Rosa's face went white, then flooded with emotion. "Lily? Tommy? Are they safe? Are they okay?" "They're perfect," Evelyn said quickly, sitting down across from her. "They're at my house, warm and fed and missing you desperately." Rosa began to cry, silent tears that spoke of days of accumulated fear and grief. "I didn't know what to do," she whispered. "When I got hurt, they asked for my insurance, my information. I was so scared they would call immigration, that I would be deported and never see my babies again. So you left the hospital?" "I ran. Like a coward, I ran. But then I couldn't go home because what if they were watching? What if someone reported me?" Rosa's voice broke. "I've been sleeping here, trying to figure out how to get my children without putting them in danger." Evelyn reached across the table and took Rosa's uninjured hand. "Rosa, listen to me. There are people who can help. Lawyers who specialize in immigration cases, advocates who understand the system. You don't have to run anymore. But I have no money for lawyers, no papers, no proof that I belong here except for my children. And if they take my children, they're not taking anyone anywhere," Evelyn said firmly. "I've been working with social services and an advocacy group. There are options, programs for parents with young children, ways to apply for legal status. It's not easy, but it's possible." Rosa studied Evelyn's face with desperate hope. "You would help me? Why? You don't even know us." "I know Lily. I know she makes peanut butter sandwiches for her baby brother every morning and shares them with stray cats. I know she reads to frightened children at the clinic and never asks for anything for herself. I know she's been carrying the weight of your family on 7-year-old shoulders because she loves you and Tommy more than anything in the world." Rosa's tears fell. Tears. Harder. "She's too young for such responsibility." "Yes, she is. But she's also remarkable, just like her mother must be to have raised such an extraordinary little girl." "I want to see them," Rosa whispered. "Please. I know I have no right to ask, but—" "Rosa, you have every right. You're their mother. They need you." An hour later, Evelyn's car pulled into her driveway with precious cargo. Through the front window, she could see Lily's small face appear, then disappear quickly. By the time they reached the front door, both children were pressed against the glass. When the door opened and Lily saw her mother standing there, time seemed to stop. Then the little girl launched herself forward with a cry that came from her very soul. "Mama, Mama, you came back!" Rosa fell to her knees, catching Lily with her good arm, both of them sobbing with relief and joy. Tommy toddled over as fast as his little legs could carry him, babbling, "Mama, Mama," and throwing his arms around both of them. From the doorway, Evelyn watched the reunion through her own tears, understanding that she was witnessing something sacred. A family being healed, love being restored, hope being fulfilled. "I'm sorry I left you," Rosa whispered into Lily's hair. "I'm so sorry, mi amor." "It's okay, Mama," Lily said fiercely. "I took care of Tommy, and Mrs. Evelyn took care of both of us. We're all safe now." "Yes," Rosa said, looking up at Evelyn with gratitude shining in her eyes. "We're all safe now." But even as they celebrated this beautiful reunion, Evelyn knew their challenges were far from over. The real work of keeping this family together was just beginning. Sometimes the most important victories are not endings, but new beginnings. And sometimes the greatest families are the ones we choose to love and fight for, no matter what obstacles lie ahead. The snow continued to fall outside, but inside Evelyn's house, warmth had returned to 3 hearts that had been too cold for too long.